All right, guys, welcome back to the Tiralosi Twins podcast. Yep, our next guest is a photographer with over 690,000 followers on TikTok and nearly 100,000 followers on Instagram. Let's welcome Damian Brunton. Welcome on.
What's up, boys? How are you?
Good. Yeah, so how did you basically get started into being a photographer, and how'd you get into social media? If you could give us that backstory.
Perfect. So I started photography my freshman year of high school, so it's about 5 to 6 years ago. And I never wanted to do photography my whole life because my dad is a professional photographer. And so I was like, I don't want to copy him. I want to be complete polar opposite of him. He would always come to my soccer games and stuff and shoot photos and stuff, and all my friends would know him as the photographer. And so I never wanted to be him. I was like, I don't want to be a photographer. Everyone's guy look like him, and everyone's just gonna be like, oh, like following in your dad's footsteps, blah blah blah. So I was just like, no, 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 and then tore my ACL playing soccer. And all I wanted to do was play soccer my whole life. So I tore my ACL, and he's always wanted me to do photography, and I never did. And then one time when I tore my ACL, he was like, hey, like go shoot photos now, like you got nothing else to do. And so like there was a cool sunset, and like we nagged about it for a little, and then he was just like, just go do it. And I was like, okay. Went out there, shot photos of the sunset. It's now framed in my mom's living room, the photo that I took that night. And so it's just like, if I didn't tear my ACL, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I think of it as a good thing because everything happens for a reason. And so, yeah, I started photography pretty much because I tore my ACL and followed in my dad's footsteps, and then just never went back to soccer because my ACL never fully recovered. And so I just wanted to do something, and I fell in love with photography, started shooting photos at all my local high schools and stuff. And hold on, I'm about to sneeze. Sorry, guys.
You're good.
Okay, I should be good. Started shooting photos at all my local schools, especially my high school, and just honestly fell in love with shooting sports and people. Started doing senior portraits for some friends, and then just my senior year of high school, my dad because it was during COVID and stuff, and he always used to see me scroll on TikTok. I would just scroll on TikTok and sit there and just watch all these girls and guys dancing and funny videos and stuff. And he was like, why don't you go start posting TikToks? And I was like, I could never dance. Like, it was just, you weren't going to see me in front of the camera dancing. And so I was like, I can't dance. He goes, no, you can film someone dancing. I was like, on my phone? Like, how am I going to start a career off that? And he was like, no, 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 film someone dancing on your camera. And I was like, oh, like, that's pretty stupid, Dad. Like, thanks. Like, that's a dumb idea. No one's ever done that. Like, that's pretty dumb. And he was like, no, 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 no. Trust me. For 3 to 4 months, probably, we were arguing nonstop about, hey, go film this, go film this, go film this. And I would always be like, no, 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 it's stupid. Every time I'd go on a photo shoot, he'd be like, go film this, go film this. No, never. One time I was shooting these couples photos with a girl named Shyla and her boyfriend at the time. And Shyla is now one of my closest friends. And first time I ever met her, and we were shooting, and she kept doing this one TikTok dance on the whole shoot. Just kept singing it. Whenever I would change lenses, she would do it. And I was like, maybe I'll just try it this one time. And at the end of the shoot, I was like, hey, can I film you doing that dance on my camera? And she was like, sure. And I was like, all right, perfect. Let's do it. Came back. So now how I do it is I'll play the song on my phone or on their phone and play the TikTok, and they'll match up to the TikTok. But at that point, it's my first time doing it. I had no idea. And so all I did was had her boyfriend at the time sing it. So he sung her the song, and now when you look back at it, she's so off time, so off beat. And I went back home, edited the photos because I loved how the photos looked, and then I was like, oh, like, let me look at this TikTok. Looked at it. I saved the video with none of my photos in between. If you ever watch one of my videos, it like cuts to my photos and then cuts back to the video. And so I was just like, I saved the video without the photos in between. I'd never done it. And so I was like, dang, this seems boring. And I was way more of a photographer at the time. I still am, but like way more of a photographer at the time than a videographer. And so I was like, this is boring. Like, my photos aren't in it, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, here, let me put my photos in at this bass drop, put the back in at the other bass drop. And I was like, oh, this is a sick video. Then the next day, I was like, huh, now I have posting times when I post and everything. But at that time, I had no idea. I had 200 followers on TikTok, and they were all just my friends. Like, and Shyla at the time, I want to say, had like 30 or 40 followers on TikTok. And posted the video, and I want to say in an hour, it had 60,000 likes and like 200K views. And just that whole
Wow.
day, all I did was just refresh my screen. And now I think that video is up to 950,000 likes and probably 8 or 9 million views, and just that video like changed my life forever.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That's amazing.
So yeah, you must have to thank your dad for really reminding you each time.
He gives it to me a lot. Yeah, I definitely have to thank him. I was telling him I was coming on this last night when I went over and saw him, and he was just like, like, you're going to tell the story about how amazing I am? And I was like, sure, Dad. Thanks.
Yeah, that's awesome. But he did, would you say he taught you basically most of what you know about like photography and
100%. He taught me at the beginning, probably until honestly towards my end of high school, till I graduated high school after I blew up on TikTok. Because after I blew up, I was doing 3 to 4 shoots a week. And just while I was still in high school, I was doing 3 or 4 shoots a week. And then once I graduated, that's when I started doing like 6 or 7 a week. Every day I'd have a photo shoot. And so yeah, till I got it to that point, he was teaching me everything. And then photography is really just practice is the only way you can get better at that point. After you nail all your settings and stuff, it's just practicing and practicing poses, and you just have to have a repetitive like of doing it. And so yeah, I would say pretty much he taught me all the way up until I started doing 7 photo shoots a week. And now I teach him stuff that I learn and stuff because he doesn't really shoot photos as much anymore. And so it's definitely like a cool learning thing for us to bond over. It's because I'll call him when I'm in LA or call him when I'm somewhere else and be like, yo, like this photo I just took so sick, like this how I took it. And he's like, oh, I never thought of it that way. And so like it's just super cool to be able to bond with him over that and stuff, and to be able to just have him teach me a lot to get to the point I am today.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And when you first got that initial video, what year or time frame of TikTok was that? Was that like COVID TikTok?
It was COVID TikTok, October of 2021.
Okay. So yeah, 2021. Okay, so was that
No,
peak?
no, October
TikTok
of 2020. Sorry, October of 2020. Yeah, because I graduated high school in May of 2021. So it was October of 2020.
Okay.
So yeah, I would consider that like peak TikTok. That's when like the dance that I blew up on was like "What You Know About Love" by Pop Smoke, and that was one of the biggest trends. And the cool thing about that is I did that. That was the first ever video I posted, and then about 7 or 8 months later, I filmed with the creators of the dance. They're now some of my really good friends. And so it was just like crazy that like at the time they were like the biggest thing ever because they just made like the biggest dance on TikTok, and now I'm like super good friends with them, and they're dating still. And so it's just super cool to be able to shoot them now and be like, oh, you guys are pretty much the reason why I blew up. Like, so it's cool.
Yeah. No, that is super cool. And I guess just so everyone can kind of get an idea of all the really well-known people and the people on the app, who have you worked with videography and photography?
Let's see. I've shot photos of. This is hard. Everyone always asks me this question, and I just always just like I don't know who to say. I've worked with creators like Bryce Hall, Tana Mojo. I've shot photos of Noah Beck before. Markel Washington. Let's see, who else is like pretty big that people would know. I've shot photos of Jaden Hostler, Landon Barker. Let's see, David Dobrik I've taken a photo of at a party. The Vlog Squad I've shot a few times at parties. I'd say those are the really big ones, and I wouldn't consider myself like close friends with any of them. I just see them at parties or will go on a shoot with them and stuff. But like I have a lot of close friends that I film a lot of that are obviously not as big as them, but still really big.
Right. Okay. So who was one of your favorite models to shoot?
I would say my favorite model to shoot. I actually just shot photos of her in last week, 2 weeks ago, and it's this girl named Kate. She's in Utah, and she has 2,900 followers on Instagram, and by far one of the favorite models I've ever shot photos of. I literally don't know how. Like I met her through a friend, Jackson, and she is just like literally my favorite model I've ever shot. We did 2 photo shoots while I was in Utah, and both some of my favorite photos I've ever taken in my life.
That's really cool.
That's awesome.
Is it the landscape for those shoots, or I guess what is your favorite elements when you're shooting? You know,
I would say a lot that I actually just got asked this question by my mom the other day, and it was, I would say yes and no because I mean some of my favorite photos on my Instagram are done right by a trash can. Like there's a trash can 2 feet away, and they're standing right here, and so I would say yes. Those photos had to do a lot with the background and stuff, but me and Kate did a studio photo shoot in her house, like in her doorway, and she had like random lights, and I bought the paper and we did the studio shoot. And so I've shot a whole bunch of studios, and that's by far some of my favorite studio photos. And that has nothing to do with the backdrop. It was actually not the best lights, and they're still some of my favorite photos. I think she's just an amazing model. And so yeah, I would consider it, yeah, but the background definitely helps because it just brings life to the photo. But I've also taken some of my favorite photos literally next to a trash can on the left side. So
Oh, that's interesting. Because yeah, you really don't see it as like a viewer. You don't really know that too.
never. And so that's the cool thing about it is like some of my most viral TikToks are at this park right by my house, or like there's this TikTok of my best friend Dylan, and we're in like this part right by my house. It's called Old Folsom, and he's standing on top of a parking garage, and we're filming. And I want to say this TikTok has 700 to 800,000 likes, and there is literally pieces of garbage all over to the side of the right of him, just like bags of garbage, and just like that someone just let out. And it was just like, well, we really want to film right here, so we just like moved it to the side, shot the video, and then we picked up the garbage and like threw it away. But yeah, it's just like there's just I think photographers focus on the background too much, and they don't focus on the subject as enough. And so like my dad has always taught me like some of my favorite photos my dad's ever shot of me are in our front yard. So it's like you don't need a pretty background to take a good photo. It's the subject that makes the photo good.
right?
Right. That's really good. Would you say that I guess some of the challenges make it kind of a more fun experience when you're taking pictures like that?
100%. I definitely, it's just, it like the photos that I just took at Kate, we overlooked this really cool ski resort in Utah. And like, it's just so easy to make those look pretty because like the background is just like breathtaking. And so like, it's just super fun to be able to like you have to actually like try to be a better photographer when the background isn't just perfect for you. So yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, that is interesting. Now, are there any like funny moments that you have from there, or funny stories that not many people would really hear about that you would think would be funny to share?
Huh. Let me think.
If you don't have anything right now, too, we can loop back to the stories later on if you'd
I
like.
would, I kind of have one. Don't get mad at me, Mia, if I say this, but my best friend Mia, she plays basketball at Cal Berkeley. She has, I think, 400 or 500K on Instagram. We started working in April of 2021, and she's now became one of my closest friends. and she is this blonde girl that smiles while she does a layup during basketball, and she's a really good model. She's been modeling for 5 to 10 years, probably longer. But how our video started was she did a layup and smiled. And so it's funny because I've shot her more than anyone I've ever shot photos of. I've probably shot her over 150 to 200 times. And her and my best friend Dylan are probably the two that I've shot the most. But she like will never get a zit on her forehead, like ever. And every time I go even to see her, even if we're not shooting or anything, like I'll just go see her or anything, and she always gets a zit right on her forehead. And it's so funny because every single time we shoot photos, she gets a zit. And like there will be girls that will come up to me like in public, or like if I'm like at her campus, like walking into her basketball game, and they're like, "Oh my God, like Mia's my favorite player. Like you guys take such good photos. Like all this, like she's literally perfect. Like, oh my God." And it's just so funny because every time I shoot photos of her, she gets a zit right on her forehead. And it's just like, how? Like, she literally is like, "I hate you." Like, I'll be on the phone with her and she'll call me later and be like, "I have a zit." Like, she always blames it on me. And so it's just so funny. That's like, because everyone always talks about like how perfect those photos are and stuff. And like, Mia's also one of my favorite models to shoot. And it's so funny because she always gets a zit. Like, if you go look at any of the videos, she normally has a zit on her forehead and only gets it when I come.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I think a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people normally wouldn't hear about or know is some of the funniest to them, because from their point of view, they see it as like it's perfect, and for if you're working on it or going through the process of trying to get the photo or video, it's there's certain stuff that throughout the shoot or whatever may not be that perfect as it seems or comes out to be.
100%.
Yeah, and like I don't know if I've seen it from on your page or anything, but do you post any like bloopers or any like funny behind the scenes videos?
So I actually, funny you say that, I just started doing that probably about 3 weeks ago. I got a GoPro for Christmas, and I've been strapping it to the top of my camera and just been doing videos to where they're like posing. So like I'm taking photos, but the GoPro's recording on top of my camera. So it's like a what like I see versus what my camera sees type of vibe. And so yeah, I'm gonna start posting a lot more bloopers because I have so many funny moments that like always never get caught on camera because I'm always taking photos. And so now that I have the GoPro, it's just like super cool.
Right. Yeah, because I even realized, because I saw like on TikTok, I was scrolling through TikTok one day and I saw basically bloopers of this person doing a skit. And then later on I saw the skit and I was like, the bloopers are like way more, way funnier, way more interesting to me. Like I really enjoyed that like way more than the actual skit. So yeah, I think it's really cool to see.
I think it got more views and likes as well.
Probably. Yeah. No, I've thought about doing that. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool to see, just because I feel like just because there's so many people that you shoot that are so big on the different apps, that people do want to see that I guess behind the scenes human, like just how they're a normal person.
Yeah, no, I've thought about that, and I will actually take that up with you guys.
But yeah, no, that's super cool. I think have you ever shot Emma Chamberlain? Or not Emma Chamberlain. Who's the gosh, I'm
Emma
trying to think of
Brooks
it.
McAllister.
Emma Brooks, yeah, her.
Yeah, me and Emma shot the first time I was ever in LA. We shot in January of 2021. Yeah, January of 2021. And she was over at a content house that I was working at, and she didn't really have any followers. And the first video we ever filmed, I think she posted, and it got like 2 million likes. And so yeah, I have shot Emma. She's a really cool girl.
I think that is the first one I saw of yours, and I think it was a while back, because the colors were just insane.
Yeah.
I think, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and I think that someone actually did a review video on it, kind of like breaking it down, like how well done it was with the color grading and color correction.
I'm gonna need you to find that video. I've never seen that. I need that.
Okay, I'll try to look back.
No, but yeah, I made that. they call it a LUT, but I always call it a preset since I'm a photographer first, not a videographer. But it's called a LUT, and I made that LUT my freshman or sophomore year of high school, and I've thought about changing it 100 times, but everyone comes out to me in LA or in public, and they're like, "Oh my god, like you're the guy that does those videos, like." It's so orange, like it's so like dreamy and sunset vibes. Like I love it. And so like I'm known for the way my videos look, but I've like started to like turn it down a lot more because like I don't like how dark bright and like orangey it is. But yes, I would actually love to see that video because I get a lot of crap for it and also get a lot of love for it. So I'm actually surprised I've never seen that video.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to find it. I'm not sure how big of a video it was, but I think it I definitely saw it and was like, okay, this is, because I was interested and I was like, how is this video so well done, you know?
I appreciate it. Yeah. They've been fun to do. But yeah.
Yeah. I was also curious. I'm assuming it's a Sony, but what kind of camera do you use?
You guys are the first podcast I've ever talked about it on. I shoot a Nikon Z9. But when you were looking at that video, I was shooting a Nikon D500, which a Nikon D500 is I consider it an entry level beginner camera. I would consider it a little bit higher than an entry level beginner, but a D500 is a great camera. It's what I would recommend a lot of beginner photographers that don't want to spend a lot of money on a camera. I shot that camera for 3.5, 4 years until May of 2021. Yeah, May of 2021, I got the Z7 II. But when I was blowing up like crazy and doing all those videos with Charlie Jordan, Emma, Anna, and all these huge creators, Charlize, all these huge creators, I was using a Nikon D500. Everyone thought I was using the Sony A7 III and all these nice cameras.
Yeah.
I was genuinely using a $750, $900 camera, and everyone thought I was this crazy videographer. And I will gladly say I am a horrible videographer. I just got lucky and started this high quality trend. But now I shoot a Nikon Z9, which is the like number one camera Nikon has. I think it got voted the best mirrorless camera of 2022. And so I've now switched fully to mirrorless, and I love it. And I will probably, don't want to say never, but I love Nikon too much to try to switch. My dad shot Nikon for 25 plus years, so it was always just like, oh, he has all these lenses I can use, so why switch to a different camera? And Nikon is a very photo first camera. So how everyone's like, oh, why do you still shoot Nikon if you do these high quality videos? And how I describe all three cameras of the main three camera brands. People will probably literally tear me apart for saying this, but Nikon probably has the best photos, Sony has the best video, and Canon has the best average of both.
Okay. Do you think it would be like Panasonic or I guess Lumix next after that? Or
yeah, I 100% think Lumix is definitely like a video camera first. Like kind of almost like Sony. But I can't, like the Nikon colors for photos are just too good for me to switch.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because I think a lot of Nikon, like a lot of the people that use Nikon usually start out in photo, right?
100%.
Okay.
Because no one has ever bought a Nikon camera because of the video. It's just not. Like when I tell videographers I shoot a Nikon, they look at me like I'm stupid.
Yeah, because I think the recent trend with all the, influencers, vloggers, and all that is, Canon, Sony, right? So it's kind of rare to find, I guess people that shoot Nikon nowadays, right?
Nikon is a very older brand. So like the youngest person Nikon works with, I want to say is like 30, maybe 28, but probably 30. And Sony works with creators that are 16, 17, 18. So it's definitely like an older brand. Like honestly, if I was starting photography now and didn't know and my dad wasn't a photographer, I would probably go to Sony or Canon before I would pick up a Nikon.
Okay. Is there more of a learning curve for Nikon? Or is it just pretty much as long as you know the right settings, then it's pretty
It's
user
definitely
friendly?
like I'm pretty sure Nikon and Canon, how their camera works. So like if I go right on my shutter speed, it like turns up, and Canon is backwards to that. So Canon, if you go left, it turns up. So like I'll pick up some of my friends' Canons and like try to shoot it, and my photos, it takes me an hour to take one photo because I'm going the opposite way I need to go. And so I say like I can take a photo on any camera. It just might take me longer as long as you know your settings. So I can't really answer if it has a learning curve because I've only ever shot Nikon. So I don't know what the
Okay.
learning curve would be.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because we've tried to get more into learning about the camera and stuff. It's just kind of hard to do both,
Yeah.
right?
100%.
Like
So the coolest thing about what my dad taught me was a lot of photographers, when they begin, they start on automatic. They just put the camera on automatic. It's the easiest thing to do is throw it on automatic. Now my dad, being who he is, and he never let me touch the camera on automatic. I didn't even know what A stood for. And so he always had me shoot manual. I had to learn manual every single time. I'd have to adjust every single setting, white balance, everything I wanted to adjust. He made me put on manual. And so that like has changed like the way I have like learned photography, because I would feel comfortable posting my raw photos onto TikTok, Instagram, and stuff. And a lot of photographers, I don't think, could say that. And that's nothing about me having any ego or anything. It's just for me to be able to be comfortable posting the raw, unedited photos onto Instagram or social media because of how well he's taught me to just shoot manual.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that's hard to do, especially now. Like, I feel like everyone's trying to learn as fast as possible just to get videos up, and sometimes that doesn't work as well long term. So that is interesting to hear because, like, you went from the start of learning the actual camera and then you got into social media. Is that kind of how you?
100%. I shot photos for 4 years until I had my first ever thing to go viral on social media. And I think that's the hardest thing with the new rage of social media and the new, oh my God, you could blow up on TikTok overnight. Because I mean, I did that, but it's like, I feel like creators, and especially creatives like videographers, photographers, and even podcast people, it's like people give up so fast when they don't see an instant gratification from it, because they're like, oh, this person can do it. I think my work's better than them, so why isn't mine going viral? And I feel like that's the 99% of creatives that want to blow up on social media, is they give up before they even get there. Because one of my friends, I know he's posted probably 300 videos before he had one go viral. But he had one go viral, and now he's a really big creator. And so it's just consistency is key. And I'll go into this a little bit. So this past year, in 2022, I probably posted maybe 15 times on TikTok and maybe 12 times on Instagram. And I just got my mental health wasn't there. And so I decided to just shoot photos and do videos for other people and really not care about my own social media. And so that's really hurt my social media. I used to be at 700 and I think 15K on TikTok, and I used to be at 108 or 109K on Instagram. And just from me not posting over the past year, I've lost a lot of followers because I don't post. And so like if you look at any of my posts from this last year after Instagram created the collaborator post thing on Instagram, that's when I started posting, because these influencers would just be like, "Oh, can we do a collab post?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't have to post anything. I just hit accept." So my mental health just got really bad, and so I just decided I'm gonna do work for everyone else and not care about my social media, and that has really hurt my social media. And over this past month, starting February 1st, really, the last couple of days, me, my best friend Dylan, and then my other really, really close friend, best friend Justin, Dylan does TikTok. Justin's starting out on TikTok. He does like buzz cut and interview videos, and then Dylan, I film all of his dancing videos and football videos. And we started a bet starting February 1st because me and Dylan both took a really big break from TikTok. Really, over this past year, we really just focused on other things in life, and we realized that this is what we want to do. And Justin has a hard time of posting consistently, and so do me and Dylan. So we made a bet starting February 1st. It's if you miss a day, you have to post on TikTok every day. And if you miss a day, you owe $10 to the pot. And at the end of the month, the money that's in the pot, we all go out to dinner with that money that's in the pot. And you have to post 2 reels a week on Instagram. And so that's been pretty fun because it's like us in a group chat challenge each other. And Dylan missed the first day on February 1st. He didn't post. And so we all clowned him for it because, like, how do you miss the very first day of this challenge? And so, yeah, it's been super fun. Like, I'm starting to get back into social media. That's why I was super excited to do your guys' podcast and stuff because I moved back to LA on Friday in 4 days. And I'm just super excited because now this year I've really talked to my mom a lot. Excuse me. Wow. I've talked to my mom a lot, and she's been like one of the most supportive people in my life forever. And I can't thank her enough for that because I don't think I would be here today on this podcast right now without her. And we go to church every Sunday when I'm home with my grandma and her, and she just like means so much to me for how hard she works at everything she does. And so this past year, like, me not posting on social media, she's the first person to view all my stories, first person to like my posts and stuff. And so for me not to post, she just kept asking me like, are you okay? Are you okay? And I would always just say yes and just kind of brush past it. And so now for her to be able to see that I'm posting a lot more, she can tell that I'm doing better. And I literally can't thank her enough because of how hard she works at everything she does. It's brought into my character, and now this year it's really about me first and all the other people that I film second. And I've learned that from her because she puts herself first a lot over a lot of things. And so it's just going to be great this year to be able to start growing on social media again and actually trying. And so I haven't talked about this at all either, but I'm starting a clothing brand. I have a meeting right after this, and it's called Little Things. And that's the name we have right now. And that's the name I think we're going to stick with because I really like it. But it's called Little Things, and it's to focus on the little things in life before the bigger picture. And it's all about mental health. So our first hoodie I should get the samples in the next month. And so that hopefully will drop by early April, end of March. And it's just going to be, the first hoodie is going to be about different ways to ask a friend if they're okay. So it lists a whole bunch of different ways on the back of your hoodie. And yeah, but if you guys want to dive deep on that, I have a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about with that. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I really like that. I think mental health, especially the last, I don't know, I think really after COVID started, it's really taken a toll on everybody. So, I mean, that's amazing that you're starting a clothing brand for that.
Yeah.
And I guess, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, well, first, I mean, that's amazing to, your mother, the amount of support she has, and that, I mean, that's awesome. And also, that's a really good, like Alex was saying, mental health, especially now, it's like we're getting more aware of it, but it's such a serious thing that especially a lot of creators deal with. So I think that's a really, really good idea, and that's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So one of my closest friends, his name's Jackson, and he probably been my biggest supporter of my clothing brand about mental health. So he has his own clothing brand, and it's called Urban Rodeo, and I think, yeah, that's the name. And he his t-shirt says "The world's a better place with you in it," and it's his own handwriting on the t-shirt. And he does TikTok. I want to say he has 600, 700K on TikTok. And he lives in Utah. He's Mormon. He's about to go on his mission in about 2 months. And I was just there last week, and I stayed with him. And his whole family is just amazing. Like, his mom is such a nice human. And her and Jackson do a lot of his clothing brand together. And so they do all the fulfillment and stuff. And I couldn't be more inspired by him because he just sold a lot of piece of clothing because he had a viral TikTok go viral, and he's had a lot of friends that have lost themselves to suicide, and he decided to start this clothing brand because of it, and I couldn't be more happy to call him my friend because of how well I can just call him and be like, "Hey, I'm having a rough day. Like, let's just talk about random stuff." And he will sit there and talk to me for as long as I need. And he is just like anyone that talks to him just has a better day. And he has that effect on everyone that he talks to is if you genuinely just have a even if it's a 10-second conversation with this kid, he will genuinely just make you feel better about yourself. And I don't know how he does it, but I can't like thank him enough for everything he's done for me in the past 3 months that we've gotten way closer. And so, yeah, I would consider a lot of the thrive and passion to do this clothing brand is based around Jackson.
Wow.
Wow.
No, that's incredible. And was there kind of like a thought process behind this, or was it just pretty much going through your own experience? Like, I need to kind of just add to this. I guess anywhere I could help through this clothing brand, right? Is that something that your thought process was going on, or I guess what was your thought process of starting this clothing brand?
So, I've always wanted to start a clothing brand. Before I even started social media, I always thought a clothing brand would be so sick to start. And so, me end up having the time and effort to put towards a clothing brand right now is just so much passion, and a lot of it comes from my mom because of how hard she works. And I mean, she's going to nursing school right now while she's a full-time realtor that flips houses, and so like she does everything that you can imagine. And I felt like I had a lot of free time because I don't go to school and stuff, and I've struggled with mental health a lot. And I feel like it's very hard for especially men, but younger men my age, 19 years old and younger and a little bit older, to talk about your mental health because it's a very like new thing about mental health is very new in the today's age. And so for a man to, I don't know, talk about that, it's very hard for a lot of my friends and stuff. And so it was very hard for me for a while. I didn't reach out to anyone or anything. And so I felt like a clothing brand for me, not just for it to look cool, but to also have a difference and impact people's life, couldn't be couldn't make me happier to try to do that because I've realized hanging out with Jackson and stuff, and we rock around Utah and stuff, and people see him wearing his shirt, or we'll see someone wearing his shirt, and it's like he has an impact on so many people. And I want to have that feeling on so many other people because I want to be a place where even if it's a photographer or if it's a random person to come up and talk to me or send me a DM about, hey, I'm struggling with this, how can you help me, or can you give me some advice? And it's just the impact that I've seen Jackson have on his clothing that has gave me the passion to just want to start my own.
Yeah, that's incredible. I think just that, clothing especially, it's kind of like a billboard for, I guess a message, and just seeing other people wear it kind of justifies like, okay, I'm not the only one that's going through that, or, whatever it may be, right?
I 100% agree. And I think the hardest thing for guys my age to talk about is their mental health. So then for them to just be able to wear something where they don't really have to speak about it, but someone could just be like, oh, I like your hoodie. And that could brighten up someone's day. And so just like I always strive to give compliments to people and to smile at people because you don't know how far that smile has gone in their life. And my mom's taught me that is always try to be nice to everyone because you don't know how much they needed that. And a lot of people keep in their inner thoughts and don't express it out into the universe. My mom, myself, everyone around me, I feel like a lot of people do that. And so then for you to be able to just wear something where someone could read as they're waiting in line at the store and you're in front of them to just be able to read, oh, different ways to ask a friend if they're okay. And if that gives them, hey, like maybe I should text this friend and just check in on them, ask them how their day's going, ask them if they ate today. Like that just means so much to me that it could be a a ripple effect to where one of my boys is wearing my hoodies, a girl sees it in line at a store, and they're like, oh, maybe I should text my friend. I would never know that they texted their friend that, but just in the back of their head, in that girl's head, it could have saved her friend's life. And so for me, it just means so much.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you because it really does start that that ripple effect to where, you know, one person, and it even happened with you with a clothing brand too. So, I mean, that's like massively like kind of expanding too. So it definitely does have that effect. And I love this whole like pay it forward type of stuff too. And just even seeing those videos with like the notes where it's just a random note and it might not make sense to you, but to them, like in that moment, it probably makes the most sense and like, you know, is a piece of the puzzle or just makes them feel so much better.
100%. I agree.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love watching those videos as well of those where people, you know, go up and, you know, make a difference. And I think, you know, you'll definitely get, hopefully capture, you know, some of those great moments too, just being a videographer and photographer, right?
Yeah, that will be a really cool thing to see what I can do with the clothes once I get them, is just to be able to. I feel like in LA, especially, I've lived there for a while and moved out of LA, moved back to LA and stuff, and I'm moving back now. And I feel like a lot of people get trapped in LA and honestly lose themselves. And so for me, this clothing brand is really going to mean a lot because I can go up to some of my friends and give them a hoodie and just say, keep this. You don't have to wear it, but I just want you to have it. And for them to then get home or get in their car as they're leaving wherever we are, and for them to just be able to sit there and read it is going to mean more to me than them posting about it. If they just want to read it and if they want to rock it, cool. If they want to post about it, cool. But if they just want to read that and see the message I have behind it, and if that changes their thinking in a day, that will mean more to me than them posting about it.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I wanted to ask you too, because a lot of people do say that about LA, that it is like people lose themselves in LA. What do you think it is? Just is there an expectation there that um, is there an expectation there that people just kind of lose themselves in LA and the culture and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it 100. I've been there. I've lived there twice and moved out of LA twice because I've lost myself, and that's not to partying and stuff. It's just, I mean, in March, in February, and no, when was it? I think it was in February and March. I did 329 photo shoots in the month, the 2 months. So, I mean, and I think it
Wow.
was,
Wow.
it's one of those, either March and April or February and March. But I mean, I was doing 7 to 8 photo shoots a day, and I also wasn't posting. So I was doing all these photo shoots and it wasn't helping myself. It was helping everyone around me. Sure, I was gaining some followers off it, getting my name out there, like perfecting my craft and stuff, but like it wasn't helping myself. And so I did kind of get lost in LA because I was doing so much. And I realized that I never gave time for myself to heal or time for myself to even think and breathe. And so for me, it was just like, yeah, I would say it's really easy to get lost in LA.
Okay. And would you say that is a big um, portion of like if you did want to be really successful in the social media space, is that like a big like move, like decision to go there? Like is it a good decision to go there? Or I guess what would you kind of weigh that? How would you weigh
I
that?
would say it depends on your style of videos. If you're doing public interviews, you don't need to be in LA. If you're doing dancing videos, sure, LA would be beneficial, but it's not needed. Like, I love LA because of the friends I've made there and um, just the amount of, like, the velocity. I don't know if that's the right word, but people I can shoot there because of that's people coming and visiting that I know. Oh, this person lives in one of my best friends. She goes to Ole Miss, which is in Mississippi, and she's from Georgia. And I met her when she went to LA. I mean, we've always been friends on social media, and now she's one of my closest friends. I was just on the phone with her last night, and she came to LA when I was living there, and I shot photos of her, and we became really close friends. And it's just like, for me as a photographer, living in LA is very beneficial because of all the people that come to LA that don't live there. I can shoot photos of them for the weekend they're there and stuff, and so then I can capture, oh, this video just went viral because they were here in LA. And so I feel like it definitely can, like, I don't know what word I'm trying to think of, but it depends on what videos you're making for you to live in LA, I would say.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense too, because I guess as you said, I guess people kind of recognize that it's LA. They're like, oh wow, like it's kind of this wow factor of it.
I'm moving back to a house in the Hollywood Hills, and it's the one with the Hollywood pool. That's like one of the most TikTok well-known houses in LA, and so yes, I'd say every time I post a story or a video in front of that, like, everyone's like, "Oh, that's the TikTok house." And so, yes, I definitely think me living there is beneficial for myself, but it's not beneficial for everyone.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, no, that definitely makes sense. And if you don't mind answering, I actually was curious of, like, to live in LA, it's super expensive, right? What would, like, I guess, what if you could give us a percentage of like where you your photography or videography, I guess, revenue comes from? What is it that you do that makes you so successful and that you're able to move to LA and do all these different things? If you're able to answer, I don't want to put you on the spot there.
A lot of photographers are going to judge me about this, but I don't really care. I don't charge really any influencers for if it's just a normal photo shoot that I'm gonna gain off of. So when I was doing those 329 photo shoots, I was shooting photos of anyone and anybody. Just if like they had followers and I felt like, oh, this video could possibly go viral, I'd shoot photos of them. And now I've realized that I don't need to do that, and I can just shoot photos of people that I want to shoot photos of, because and so I don't charge really anyone for photo shoots, unless it's for a certain type of photo shoot for a brand deal, or if really I just don't really know them well enough to just be like, oh, I'll just do this for them. And so I don't charge anyone for photo shoots. I do a lot of work that's just I build a connection with them, so then when they do get a brand deal or something, they want to reach out to me. Hey, I pay you to film this, like, you've done a lot of work for me. Like, it's kind of like a pay it forward and get it back. And so,
Right.
I would say a lot of the money comes from a couple companies I work for, and just my TikTok and stuff. I get brand deals, like normal influencers. I'm a photographer and videographer, but I also get brand deals, and brands reach out to me to do video work and photos and post brand deals just like any other influencer. And so I would say I make a lot of money off my social media and a couple companies I work for.
Okay. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, because I see the kind of the other side of, where that comes from, but I was curious of where that comes from as from like a videographer or photographer standpoint.
Yeah, a lot of photographers and videographers, they do a lot of paid work, and I've just found that I would rather build the connection with the person than making $300 or $500 off of a influencer to do a shoot, because there's just so many other photographers in LA and wherever they're from. There's so many photographers now, and so what makes them want to work with you? And sure, a lot of people have told me that, oh, your photos are good, your videos are good, that's why they want to work with you, you have clout or whatever. But for me, it's like, this photographer is better than me. This videographer is better than me. Why pay me when they're willing to do a free shoot for you? And so for me, when I was starting out, I was just like, I would just rather build a connection with this person. If I build a connection with this person, it will pay off in the long run. And for that, I like cannot express that enough, that me building a connection with these people has meant more than taking $250 or taking $300 from them or whatever I was going to charge them. Like, me just building a connection with that person has gone the farther way. And if that's even for when I start this clothing brand, hey, can I send you out a hoodie? You don't have to post it, but I just want you to have it. If I were to do that with someone that, like, oh, you paid me $300, now can I give you a hoodie for you to post? Like, it's just like they're not going to want to do that as often. And for me, I can call almost every single person that you see on my Instagram that I've done an actual photo shoot with. I can pretty much call them and just be like, hey, how's your day going? Like, what are you up to? Or send them a text. And so for me, it's just the connection I built with the people that I shoot has meant more than the monetary value of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really awesome too. And that makes sense as well, because especially after, like, if they know you, and like, it's kind of a no brainer because they see how good your, all your film and video and photos are. So it's like a no brainer. Like, yeah, of course I'll go with you now,
100%. And like it just pays off in the long run because now a lot of these people I work with, they do brand deals. And so now they're getting paid X amount of money for a brand deal and they give me X amount of money back to film their brand deal. And so it just like pays off in the long run to where I'd rather do that than try to make money off them, because then I mean I would never really be friends. Like try to make a connection with someone, like if they're like, oh, like here's $250 for this photo shoot, like I'll send you the photos in this amount of days, and then yeah, like cool, and that's the end of your conversation. And I would rather it just be like, hey, like let's shoot photos and have fun and listen to music and go get lunch after if you want. Like it's just like a very much like a friendly environment to where it's less chaotic, less stressful, less, oh my God, did I get them enough photos that they paid for? Do they like the photos because they paid me for them and stuff? And it's just like, takes a lot of stress off my back to where I don't like relatively like need to do that. And so it's just like, I would rather build the connection with the person because half of my friends are, more than I would say 98% of my friends are me shooting photos of them, but we're also really close, and like I'll go hang out with them and not shoot photos of them too. And so like it's just super cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess it does remove that barrier to where you guys can be like completely honest, and like we kind of mentioned too, is like the best content really comes out of just being comfortable and natural. So I think that's really good.
Yeah, 100%. Like meeting you guys in Orlando was super cool. Like I just like loved that type of stuff because I got to meet you guys, and sure, that was what, 6 months ago, and we're still now doing this podcast 6 months later, and I still remember that conversation I had with you guys in the hotel lobby. So it's like it's just super cool to be able to like make connections with the people, and just now we're sitting on a podcast together.
Yeah, that's what I really like about Playlist, and just I guess meeting people in general is like you never know where that can really take you, and you can really get to know that person, and you guys can become really best friends just from a simple conversation. So I really like that, and the fact that we have this in common with other influencers, other like creators like yourself, and I think that does help as well because we're all just trying to follow our passions and things we enjoy. So I think that is really cool. We definitely remember the conversation too, and I guess that's why we're pretty much doing this podcast, right?
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah, I did want to ask too, like starting out when you said you were kind of doing those shoots to kind of meet those people and really not charge anything at the beginning. Was that tough to kind of make that part of like your living?
100%. It was beyond tough, and I would do a lot of soccer photo shoots and stuff like that. For soccer clubs and a whole bunch of other work that would not be portrait based or anything to be able to make it by. And I started working for companies and stuff where I don't really have to shoot photos. It's a lot of like behind the scenes work. And so that has really helped me to be able to go there. But yeah, it was definitely tough. And one of my biggest mentors in life is this guy named Michael. And Michael is also my TikTok manager, and he manages all my social media and stuff, but he does a lot more than that. And yes, I mess with him a lot. Yes, we bicker a lot, but I can't thank him enough for everything he's done for me because of the way he gives me advice on if that's social media based, if that's life based, if that's friendships, relationships, or anything. Like, he is always there to help me and guide me in the right direction for anything in life. And it's hard for me to look at, like, I feel like a lot of people, to ask a parent for some advice, like, you're like, oh, I probably wouldn't ask my parents this, but to be able to ask him this, it just means a lot for me. And we help each other a lot too. I teach him things, he teaches me things, and so I just like owe a lot of my success over the past 2 years from when I met him to him, because I wouldn't be able to not charge a lot of influencers if it wasn't for him, because of the amount of work and help he gives me in life. And just to be able to work for soccer clubs and work for random work that he gives me where I don't have to charge these influencers.
Wow, that's really awesome too. I mean, having someone that can help you like that, and I guess mentor you, because mentors are really important too. Not a lot of people realize, but just having that guidance too. Is there also someone that you kind of look to for inspiration other than, say, those type of people that are already in your life?
I would say yes. When I was growing up, I had this photographer. He came up to me in public in probably 6 months ago. I was in my hometown, and he walked up to me, and I was at the mall with a friend, and he walked up to me and was just like, "Hey, like, are you Damian? Like, you're a photographer?" And I was like, "Yeah." What's your name? And he had introduced himself, and he was like, "You're my favorite photographer. Like, I'm starting out in photography, and I look up to you. Like, you're who I want to be when I'm older." And that just meant so much to me, because I remember when I was his age and I started photography, and all I wanted to do was be the like most followed photographer on the platform. Like, I would look up to whoever that was at the time. And so now I would really say, like, me for getting inspiration from and stuff, it's from just a lot of people around me. I wouldn't say there's really like someone I just like really look up to and stuff. I would say a lot of it is from a lot of the people around me, and that's Mia helping me with poses, and she's a really good model. And so for Mia I have a lot of inspiration for her when I shoot other people. It's like, oh, like these poses Mia did, these are great. And Jackson, I give so much inspiration from for all of the mental health stuff he does. And so for me, my clothing brand is really inspired by Jackson. And like there's just a lot of other people surrounding me that like I get inspired by in different ways. And if that's my relationships with people or my connections with people, but I really wouldn't say there's like someone that's like, oh, I look up to this person and I want to be this person.
Right. Okay. So it's more of just, kind of getting that maybe even some motivation to where, people come up to you, or, you look to your friend as like to start your clothing brand, kind of motivation for that as well, right?
Yeah, it's just like the little things, just like how I want my clothing brand to be called. It's like the little things that people do and that I pick up on in life. And if that's just relationships they have with friends or connections they built and stuff, it's very much of like a, wow, I like in awe of you and like praise you for that, what you do.
Yeah, no, that's definitely super cool when someone comes up to you and really just admires your work and your accomplishments, because I feel like, we don't give ourselves enough credit. It's easy to look at other people and say, oh, wow, they're doing so much better or whatever it may be. But, we're not looking at ourselves as how many hours we actually put in or things like that, right?
Yeah, like it when people come up to me in public, and even if they just send me a DM or something, like that means more than anything, because it's like all the hard work you put in is like paying off. Because like sure, it's cool to gain followers and gain money and like all that, but for me to be able to help change someone's life, and if they're older or younger than me or the same age, like just for me able to have an impact on someone's life means more than the followers or the monetary value of it. And so like when I get those texts or DMs or anything, like that just means more.
But yeah, no, I completely agree. Because I mean that's basically why we're all doing it too. Is like, yeah, I mean we want to get those likes and views and such, but we're doing it for those like more intrinsic type of community rewards. So I think that's really cool that when people do come up or show appreciation or something you wouldn't have even known.
100%.
And yeah, kind of to I think we've talked about a lot so far. To kind of get to a full circle here, what, if you had any advice for someone starting out in maybe, social media, videography, photography, or just in general, what advice would you give that person that would maybe just help them start or even help save a lot of time for them?
This is going to sound really cliche, but don't give up. I've felt this last year that I kind of gave up on social media and was just like, let's do other things. And I've realized that social media is really what I want to do. So I would just say don't give up and be consistent and surround yourself with good people to be able to. If you surround yourself with good people, you're able to make yourself be better. And so I've just been really fortunate enough to surround myself with some pretty amazing people to the point where it reflects on me, and how people see me is people reflect on you. People, I don't know how to say this. People look at you the way people judge you based on how you surround yourself with people. So for me, it's just surround yourself with good people, and you really. I hate when people say like, "Oh, I'll never be success. I'll never be successful." Blah blah blah. I really feel like anyone can be successful if they put their mind to it. So it's really just don't give up, and everything happens for a reason. So if that's I just live by that carelessly through my life. Is everything happens for a reason. So if you have one bad day, don't make that a bad week. And one of my mom told me this one time. It's um, if you have a bad 10 minutes, don't let it ruin even the next 50 minutes in your hour, but don't let it ruin the rest of your day, because that 10 minutes is, you still have 23 hours and 50 minutes left in that day.
Yeah. Wow. That's a really good piece of advice, because I think, we focus on it too much sometimes, and really just the majority of the time it's, good, but we focus on the little that may be bad or stressful or, whatever, challenges that we come across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there anything, I guess this kind of new year, it's a good way to kind of compartmentalize it, or anything in the near future other than, or as well as your clothing brand that you're kind of working on or hope to come to fruition?
I would say just hit 1 million on TikTok finally. That's probably a big goal this year, and to grow on Instagram again. Kind of just to grow my social media is probably one of my biggest goals this year, because of last year I took a whole pretty much year off of social media and kind of just gave up on social media. So I would say probably the biggest goal and biggest thing for people to look out for is me trying new trends on TikTok, trying to find the next biggest trend ever made on TikTok is my goal this year.
That's awesome. And is there any more of, I guess, different forms of content that maybe you haven't put out yet? Or are you trying to expand on the stuff that you've already kind of been working on?
I would say expand definitely, but also I'm about to start doing a lot more behind the scenes videos. So if that's having someone film me doing on a photo shoot and more of like a vlogish style. I've tried to start a YouTube channel 150 times, but I always go and watch the video, or sit down and edit the video, or have someone else edit the video or anything, and I always just find little things in it that I hate, and I never want to post a YouTube video or even content in general, not even a YouTube video. I never want to post a TikTok or an Instagram post or anything if me, myself, wouldn't watch it fully or wouldn't watch it all the way. I don't want to post something that I wouldn't watch. And I feel like a lot of creators find themselves in a loophole to where, oh, this video looks good, post it. But they wouldn't carelessly watch their video. Like if I saw one of my videos on TikTok on the platform, I would sit there and watch it. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, is trying to make content that me myself would watch if I didn't know the person.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a really good way of looking at it too.
Yeah, because we've also gotten, we're guilty of falling into the trends and stuff that we may not enjoy, but we think may help our, the likes, views, whatever it is.
Or we're like, we just got to post today, or
100%. I get that all the time. And so now, just this year, I've really started to realize that, like, I want to only post content that I would watch if I didn't know myself.
Yeah. No, that's incredible. And I definitely enjoy watching the videos that you put out. I mean, the quality's great. The way you do it is amazing too. So, definitely looking forward to see more of that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
But yeah, thanks again for coming on. We really appreciate it. You know, in the future, we're more than willing to have people on multiple times. So we'd love to have you on again in the future and kind of maybe timestamp this and look back on it.
100%. I would love to.
Awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so where can everyone find you on all social media or anything like that?
My Instagram is at Damian.Brunton, and then my TikTok is just Damian Brunton. That's pretty much my two social medias I use the most.
Awesome.
All right.
Well, yeah, thank you to everyone listening. Thank you to everyone watching. Thank you, of course, to our guest, Damian, for coming on. I think this was an amazing podcast, and we covered a lot of different things. So yeah, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.